This conference will now be recorded.
Hello, all, good morning. Welcome back. Yeah, so we are working on VPC, right? So yesterday we created one VPC with a single public subnet. Okay. So today we are going to create public subnet and private subnet. Okay, VPC with a public subnet and private subnet. So can you see my screen, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Fine. So basically, what is VPC? So VPC, what is VPC? We discussed already, right? So VPC is a provision of logically isolated section of the AWS cloud. So it gives you the flexibility to scale and control how workloads connect regionally and globally, right? Fine. So it is a logical isolated space in our data center. Okay. So AWS data center, right? So yesterday what we did, we created one VPC. This is a region. Under this region, so we have availability zones. So these are the availability zones. Under this availability zones, so we create VPC. So this is our VPC, right? So yesterday we created one VPC with a single public subnet. So this is public subnet, single public subnet, right? So today what we will do, so we create two subnets, public and private subnets. Okay, under this public subnet, private subnets, so we create some servers. Fine. So what is public subnet? What is private subnet? What is subnet?
So
Subnet
logically
is nothing
divided
but,
in VPC with
yeah, so
different networks.
logically divided into different sections, right? So normally, so when we have 1,000 IPs or 2,000 IPs, 2,000 servers in our environment, okay? So if you want to divide into logically, so we create subnets, okay? And public and private means, public subnets means normally public internet facing servers. Public servers means internet facing servers. Private means intranet facing within the organization. Okay, so private servers means normally internal applications like timesheets, leave management system, okay, and Okay, cab bookings, right? Impulse, different applications, internal applications we host on private subnets. So public subnets normally company websites, job postings. So these servers will be hosted on public subnets, right? Yeah. So let us go and create public and private subnets with VPC. Yeah. Go to services, click on services, go down here, networking and content delivery. So click on VPC. Yeah, launch VPC wizard, click on this. Yeah, we already created this, right, yesterday. First one, VPC with a public subnet, single public subnet, right? So today we create this second one. So here we have public subnet, private subnet, okay? So also we have NAT gateway, right? So how to create this, we'll try to understand. Yeah, before creating this, so we need one elastic IP for NATing. Okay, NATing we required. NAT means network address translation. Okay, so communication, right? So for which we required one elastic IP. So first we create elastic IP, then we'll go ahead and create VPC. So how to create elastic IP? Network security, elastic IPs, allocate elastic IP address. Click on this. Okay, so this elastic IP is allocated. So allocation ID. So this is important. So we need to copy this first. Somewhere you can copy this. Allocation ID. So then you can go back to VPC. Launch VPC wizard. Click on this. Select second one, public and private VPC. Public and private subnets. Select here. Click on select. Okay, so here we have, when we open this, when we click on this, CIDR block range, CIDR block range. So this is the range. Every VPC will have some IP range. So normally in real time, so we'll have some different range. For example, in our organization, so we have different range. Okay, so as per our IP range, I need to create so this CIDR block range. Okay, so based on my network range, based on my IP range, I need to create this. So but in AWS console, so default they provide some range that we can use. Okay, so in GCP, when we talk about GCP and Azure, we'll create manual VPCs. So but here we are using default VPCs, default ranges. But when we talk about GCP and Azure in our course, okay, by the time we'll create manual VPCs. Okay, so this is the CIDR block range 10.0.0.0/16. So in this we can create 65,531 IP addresses. Okay, so IPv6 also it will support, but currently we are not using IPv6. IPv4, IPv6, different ranges. Okay, so currently we are using IPv4 only. So maybe going forward, after 2 years, IPv6 also will be used. So some companies already started using this. So very few companies. Okay, VPC name, my VPC, and public subnets IPv4 CIDR range 10.0.0.0/24, and private subnets IPv4 CIDR block range. So 10.0.1.0/24. So different ranges, subnets, two subnets, different ranges. Okay, and go down here. See here, what it is asking here. Elastic IP allocation ID. So we need to provide that for NATing, network address translation. Okay, so now go ahead and create.
Can we choose the availability zone here?
Availability zone.
Yeah. So there is an option, right?
Yeah, you can change whatever you want to change. You can change, but by default you can give default one. No need to give anything here. Okay, default one you can select. Availability zone, basically it's a client requirement. So whenever client gave you information, so like for example, I want to have this subnet on 2A availability zone. I want to have this subnet on 2B availability zone. So if you got that requirement, you can select accordingly. Create VPC. If you don't select availability zone, it will take default one. No need to prefer. Preference is not there.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's done. So click on your VPSs. See here. So this is our VPC. So if you select this VPC, you will see so this is the range, IPv4 range. Okay, so now if you go to subnets, so this is our VPC. If you go to subnets, click on subnets. So these are the subnets. So public subnet, private subnets. We have two subnets here. So these are the IPv4 CIDR block range. See here, availability zones 2C by default it has taken. Fine. Yeah. Now what we will do, so we can test this public subnet and private subnet. Okay. So now what we will do, we'll create one server on public subnet and we can create one server on private subnet. So public subnet, whatever servers are available in public subnet, that we can connect through PuTTY session. Okay. So private subnets, if you create servers on private subnets, we cannot connect through PuTTY session. PuTTY will not allow internet. This is not internet facing, right? Private subnet. Public subnets are internet facing. So we can connect through PuTTY session. So if you have any servers on public subnets, we can connect through internet, through PuTTY session. PuTTY means internet facing, right? So private servers we cannot access through PuTTY. So that is the difference here. So we need to understand. So public servers we can access, private servers we cannot access. Private servers, when you are trying to access private servers, it will give you network error. That's the difference here. You need to observe that. Okay. Fine. Now what we will do, we'll create two servers on two different subnets. Launch instance, select instance, configure instance. So here network, you need to select network. So by default it is selected, default network. So we can select our own network, my VPC. So first we can create under public subnet. Okay. So we have two subnets, public and private. Select public subnet. And when we select our own network, so IP is disabling here. See here, auto assign public IP, disable. So we need to enable manually, otherwise you will not get any public IP. Enable this. Okay. So add storage, add tags, add tag, tag name. Web server 1. Configure security group. So you can configure, you can create this new security group. Key pair.
Sir.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Sir, sorry to interrupt. I had an issue yesterday while practicing. So when I created an instance with the default security group, I was not unable to connect the server with this partition. Why like that?
Okay. So can you take the screenshot and post today? So we'll see that after the session.
Yeah. But well, again, the same instance when I changed the default security group and attached another security group, I was able to connect.
I see.
But with the default security group, I couldn't connect.
The security group, normally default one we should not use. So you have some security groups set already in your console.
No, sir, I couldn't see any security groups while creating the instances in VPC. There was one thing, a default security group, and there was an option to create a new one. So initially I chose the default one, but I couldn't connect. Again the same thing. I changed the security group, then I was able to connect. So is it mandatory that we should create a new one, or we should not use the default security group while creating an instance in a subnet?
Yeah, default security group we should not use, because we have created customized VPC, right? Customized VPC, right? So that is why,
Okay, yeah.
So it will not allow you to access default one. So we need to use customized. We need to create our own security group, and we need to connect the server.
Okay. So we should not use the default one.
Yeah.
But
fine. So this is our public server. So on public subnet, we created this server, right? So this server will be accessible through PuTTY session. So after this. Yes, it is accessible. Right? So I'm able to access. Means, so our VPC public subnet is working fine. Right? So I can install packages, whatever I want to do, I can do on the server. So I terminate this server. Yeah. Now what we will do, So we create one more server on private subnet, so which will not allow you to connect, okay, because private servers we cannot connect through partition, right? Launch instance, select instance, so configure instance, network, select your own network, select private subnet, and IP disabled here. You can enable IP, add storage, add tags, tag name, private server, security group, launch instance. Yeah, now it is in running state. So we have public IP. So, but when you are trying to connect this public IP, it will give you network errors. Okay, so let us check that. Copy this public IP. So it will not connect. If it is connecting, so our VPC private subnet is not working fine. So it should not connect. It should give network errors. See here, what it is saying. It is giving network error. So this is the difference. Public subnets, private subnets. So if you want to connect this server, first you need to connect VPN. So normally in real time, for example, if you want to connect your network, you want to connect your office from your laptop, what we will do, first we'll connect VPN. So once connect the VPN, then we can connect our servers, right? This is the difference. You can check it out. Any questions up to here? Anyone?
Sir,
Yeah, go ahead.
so what is the if we are creating one elastic IP, right, sir?
Yeah.
What that elastic IP that where one but what purpose we're creating, sir? Like we're creating one elastic IP.
Yeah, good question. So basically, so that elastic IP is for NATing. NATing means from public IP to public server to private server communication. So to communicate from public server to private server, we created NAT gateway, right? So for which we require subscription. AWS subscription is required. So otherwise we cannot connect. Okay, subscription is required. So this is our test lab, right? So here it is not possible to communicate. So normally in real time, subscription will be available. Subscription means account, okay, licensing. So in that we can use that.
Okay.
Sir, is it possible to connect an instance of a private subnet through public subnet?
Yeah, that is possible. So you can connect public subnet. Through public subnet, you can connect private subnet.
Private subnet.
That is possible.
How
that is possible.
Okay.
Yeah. So here deleting VPCs, first we need to delete our NAT gateway. First we need to delete here. Otherwise, VPC will not be deleted. First we need to delete NAT gateway from here. Then only can delete your VPC. So otherwise it will not allow. So this NAT gateway first we need to delete here. Okay. So select NAT gateways here, and delete that gateway. Click on this. Go to Elastic IPs and we can release that IP from here. Once it is deassociated, so please type in time. Yeah, deleted. So go to Elastic IPs. It will take some time. Okay, no problem. And go to subnets. I think subnets also will not be ready. It will take some time to. Let's try. Yeah, so subnets deleted. Now you can delete your VPC. Yeah, it will take some time to release this. It will allow you to release Elastic IP. So wait for some time and it will enable this option, release Elastic IP address. Then you can release, otherwise bill will be generated. Okay. Yeah. So VPC is deleted here. So this is the default VPC. Default VPC don't delete. Fine. So any questions up to here? Is clear to you, right?
Sir, we need
Yes.
to delete the instance as well to avoid the bill, or can we keep them in a rest state?
Instance, right?
Yeah, sir. I
Can you
have a
come again?
really so every time every time we create the instances at the end of the practice session and end of the lab, do we need to terminate the instances? I mean, just to avoid the bill.
Yeah. If you want to practice,
or we can stop and when.
Yeah.
So actually,
Yeah.
when I checked my billing dashboard few days back, so I've been charged around 400 rupees. So I didn't by the time so there were few instances that were not, none of them were not running, so all of them were in the state of rest, but I've been charged. And every time I'm checking, the price is keeping increasing, so I've been charging continuously. So I really don't know what to do. So I didn't use the instances for a few days. When the class didn't happen, I didn't open my account for a few days. Then after a few days, when I checked randomly, I checked my billing dashboard. So there was around 4. Now it is about 600. So that is keep increasing.
Yeah. So basically, what will happen here? For server, there will not be having charges. For storage, some charges will be happening. And also some, if you have any Elastic IPs, if you have any snapshots, that would be charged. Okay, for example, these two servers are there. Docker servers, 7 a.m. and 8 p.m. servers. Okay, so when I working on these servers, I start these servers and then I stop the servers. So for these servers, bill will not be happen, but storage bill will be happen. For the servers, storage is there, right? 8 GB storage. For that, bill will be happen. And also here, so when you launch your console, you need to check like this: Elastic IPs, any Elastic IPs are there, any volumes are there. Okay, so any snapshots are there. So this you need to check it out, and you can remove if the volume is available state, not connected to any server, you can remove that. Even snapshots also you can remove. Elastic IPs also you can remove that. See here, now it is showing release elastic IP address. So release this, it will be gone. So like this you need to check. Otherwise, somewhere the bill will generate. So nothing will
I
happen.
checked, sir.
Yeah, nothing will happen. So if any bill happened beyond the limits, so nothing will happen. Okay, so your account will be suspended after some time, after 1 month or after 2 months. Nothing will happen. Okay, so you can create one more account back. So whenever we practice, so we need to stop servers, we need to terminate servers. If it is not required, the server is not required, we need to terminate them. If you want to practice tomorrow, you can stop that server and you can keep in stop state, and you can restart when you working on that server. Okay, so these things you need to verify every time. Elastic IP addresses.
Yes, sir. I checked and I deleted all Elastic IPC and Snapshot and everything, but still I've been charging.
Okay. So sometimes what will happen? Last 24 hours bill will be happen tomorrow. Okay, so this 24 hours bill happen after 1 day. Like that, it will show you. So every day it will not show you. For example, today I'm working on some servers. That will be generated day after tomorrow. So like that, sometimes it will show you. So not immediately it will show you. Okay, so you need to verify the things. So where it is happening, the bill. So if you go to here billing, it will show you detailed billing.
Yes, sir. 90% of the bill. Please, sir, go on.
Okay. See here, detailed billing here. It is a fresh account actually. My account also suspended. So last 2 weeks I haven't stopped servers. Right, that is why my account also suspended. This is fresh account. So few days before I created this.
Yeah.
So nothing,
So out of 600, or 90% of that is for EC2 itself. That's why I'm asking. So I don't know whether we need to terminate the instance or we can keep that instance in the state of rest. So that's my confusion. And about VPC as well, I googled about that VPC yesterday. So when I like whether the VPC is chargeable or not, but I got to know AWS doesn't charge for VPC. It doesn't charge for VPC. So again, there is a confusion again.
Okay. Yeah, don't worry. So if you got any bill, don't worry. So if you raise a case with vendor, he will revert that bill. Nothing to worry about. So just raise a case with vendor. So unnecessarily I got some bill, go to support center and raise a case with here, billing ticket, billing case you can raise. So create a case here, select billing case, billing support. Okay, you can give details here and you can submit that. You will get a call from AWS. So they will ask you, okay, so I got unnecessary bill here. So could you please revert that bill? Definitely they will revert. Okay, so that also that you can use that option. So otherwise nothing will be happen.
Okay, sir.
Fine. So VPC we have done, right? So we have small concept, one more concept that we can cover today. So which is SNS, simple notification service. Okay, it's a small service. So we can cover today. Yeah, simple notification service. Yeah, so here SNS, simple notification service, right? So we have two different things available in AWS. which is SNS and SQS. Okay, SNS means simple notification service. SQS means simple queue service. So basically, what is SNS? So Amazon Simple Notification Service is a fully managed messaging service for both applications to applications A to A and applications to person A to P. So for example, so when we use mobile data, so when we utilize some threshold, for example, we are using Geo mobiles, right? Geo mobile data. So we put some hotspot for mobile, for laptop, okay? So we utilize some 200 MB. So once it is complete 200 MB, so it will send you one notification. You have utilized 200 MB of data, okay? So when we utilize 500 MB, it will send you one more notification. You have utilized 500 MB data, right? So through SMS, through email, through HTTPS, we'll get these notifications. So that basically backend they configured SNS. So automatically it will send notifications. So even broadband network also, when we have utilized so the bandwidth, so it will send some notifications. So that is SNS. So normally SQS, what SQS will do? Simple queue service. So for example, so online shopping. So in online shopping, for example, in Flipkart, so we book some product. Okay. So when we book the product, okay, so we get one notification through SMS. Your order has been placed. So successfully placed. Okay. So once we place the order, we get one notification. So after that, once it is packed, so one more notification we get through SMS. Your packages, your order is packed. Your product has been packed. Okay. So again, once it is dispatched, the product is dispatched. Okay. You will get one more notification. Your product has been dispatched. Okay. So once it is reached to your city, you will get one more notification, which is your product is out for delivery, right? So all things will be sent by SQS, simple queue service. So no one will manually send this. So whenever they update the system, automatically backend SQS will send this notifications. So SNS, SQS, these are the notifications. Okay, we work on SNS only. So we practically do that. Okay, fine. So let us go and create SNS here. Yeah. So if you want to configure SNS, go to services. Okay. So here, so if you are unable to find out that, so you can search here SNS. See here, simple notification service. Open this. So click here, navigation bar. So this is dashboard. Click on dashboard. Here nothing is available. So no subscriptions, no topics, no platform applications, nothing is available. So first we need to create topic. Topic means it is a group. Okay. Topic means it is a group. First we need to create some topic here. So topic name, create topic here. So here FIFO means first in, first out. Okay. So I want to create a standard. Standard, my name, topic name is SNS. Display name also I give, or else what we will do, DevOps batch 8 AM. I want to do like this. Fine. So encryption is optional, access policy is also optional, and delivery retry policy also optional. So these are the optional. Delivery status logging also optional. Tags, if you want to create tags, you can create tag name. Create topic. So we have created topic here. Topic means group. Click on topic. This is the topic. So next one is we need to create subscription. Click on subscription. So create subscription. Click on this. So here topic ARN. So we need to select this. So ARN means here AWS SNS. Okay, region details. Our topic details. It will show you. Okay. So go down here. Protocol. So protocols, we have different protocols available here. So we can select email here, email, SMS, HTTPS, HTTP, different protocols available. So I can select email here. Okay, so emails you can give, if you want to give any email, you can give like this. Create subscription. Click on create subscription. Subscription is created here. So once we create this, okay. So if you want to publish this, okay. So go to subscription. So this is our pending subscription. Okay. So subscription is confirmation is pending. So you need to go to email ID. So you will get some email from SNS. So you need to validate that. You will get some URL. You need to validate that URL. Then only it will be activated. So now it is in pending confirmation. So you can go to this email ID, log into this email. See here, we got notification, right? So DevOps batch ATM AWS notification. So open this. See here, confirmation, confirm subscription. So we got some hyperlink, right? So click on this. Now it is subscription confirmed. Means, so our subscription is activated here. So go back to console here, refresh here. See here. Now it is confirmed. So now if you want to publish any message, you can publish now. Publish notifications. So topic, open this. Yeah, see here. Now if you want to publish message, you can publish here. Okay. So publish message, click on this. Subject, you can give some subject name here. So same name you can give. So go down here. So identical, yeah. So no need to give anything here. Message body. So just a minute. Go back here. So go to subscription. Open this. This is our subscription. Message oriented. Okay, fine. So finish publish చేద్దాం. So now here click on publish message. Body to, yeah. Publish message. Message published successfully. Let me go and check email here. Okay. So email notifications we can send like this. So not yet receive any email. So this is previous one. So we'll test. Meanwhile, we can test send SMS also. SMS you can send easily. Okay. So push notifications. Click on this, or else SMS, text messaging SMS. Okay. So publish text message. Click on this. So here message type promotional and transitional. You can select second one, transitional. So phone number you can give +1 space. You can give phone number. So body of the message you can give I SMS test. Okay, so no need to give anything here. Organization name, some test, something. Publish message. Click on this. Number to send it. Okay. Orientation. Okay. Organization. Before that, visits. Okay. So we'll get some notification through SMS to our mobile. So it will take some time. So like this, we can test it out. Okay. So email notification and text messages. So both ways we can send. So this is this SMS is for testing. In our console, it is for testing. Normally, where we use this SMS. So when we configure any auto scaling, when we configure any services, by the time we'll get some SNS topic that we need to enable. Okay. So tomorrow we'll work on auto scaling. By the time I'll show you where we configure SMS. Okay. So for this, normally we can test this here. So whatever we are doing now, that is for testing. So we are not mapping anything, any services. Okay, just testing here. Okay, like this you can send some SNS topics, SNS notifications. So not yet receive anything. Yeah, so we'll get this notifications. Okay, successfully sent. Delivery status is it is accepted, right? So we'll get some notification. So like this, you can test it out. You can test from your end. So in the console today. So tomorrow we'll work on auto scaling. Okay. So any questions up to here, anyone? Any doubts, any questions? So it is a small service, simple service. Yeah, I got it. I just got it. Okay, so the same way you can test it out. Fine. Any questions, anyone on VPC and SNS? Yeah, you can practice this two concepts. Tomorrow we'll work on auto scaling. Auto scaling is very, very important. So don't miss tomorrow. Okay. So auto scaling is when AWS launches auto scaling. So AWS is moved to next level. Okay. So because this is very, very important, auto scaling. We can scale up instances, we can scale down instances whenever needed. Fine. So peering we'll discuss in. So there is no peering in our actual content. So in GCP, if possible, I'll show you. In peering, in GCP, I'll show you. GCP and Azure also will discuss about VPC. Okay, manually we'll create that. Okay, peering means from one VPC to one VPC communication. So in different regions, two VPCs we can create and we can establish the communication. That is peering. So as per our content, we haven't put any peering. So peering I'll show you in GCP. Don't worry. Okay. Yeah, cross account also same. Cross account also same. Don't worry. So we have two other platforms. In that we'll create manually. Fine. Yeah. So we can stop here for today. So tomorrow we'll work on auto scaling. Fine. Thank you all.